Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to all of you in afternoon session of Day 4, second slot short-term training program. Myself, Dr. Nilesh Karande, and I feel extremely honored to introduce our speaker, Dr. Professor P.V. Maheshwari, Director, Jaidev Education Society, Nagpur. He is double doctorate in mechanical engineering. First PhD is from University Institute of Technology, conducted College of Rajiv Gandhi Technical University, Bhopal, in the specialization of machine design. Second PhD is from RTM Nagpur University in the specialization of thermal engineering, MTech design from the VNIT. He has recently received ISTE Best Engineering College Teacher of Maharashtra State 2019 Award by the Chairman of the AICTE, Dr. A.D. Sahasrabuddhe. It was during his tenure as Secretary that his chapter bagged the Best Chapter Award in 2010 and 2012. He has total experience of 32 years in teaching and administration. He has filed and published 10 patents. He has published 35 research papers in international journals of repute, international and national conferences. He also has authored 2 books and 2 book chapters on engineering subject. His other achievements are Associate Dean Academics Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Technological University, Maharashtra from May 2020 to April 2022. Chairman Board of Studies Industrial Robotics RTM Nagpur University from 2018 onwards. Member BOS in Mechanical Engineering of RTM Nagpur University from 2018 onwards. Member BOS in Mechanical Engineering of DB8 Technological University from 2018 onwards. Chairman Board of Studies Mechanical Engineering RTM Nagpur University. Academic Council Member RTM Nagpur University. Member Research Recognition Committee RTM Nagpur University. Member Equivalence Committee RTM Nagpur University. Chairman Indian Society for Technical Education Maharashtra, Goa. National Executive Council Member ISTE New Delhi. Secretary cum Treasurer ISTE Maharashtra. Secretary Association for Machines and Mechanism Central Indian Chapter Nagpur. MPSC paper setter for mechanical engineering stream. Co-convener International Conference on Recent Trends in Automation and its Adaptation to Industries. Organizing Secretary 17th National Symposium on Cryogenic National Conference. Organizing Secretary Industrial Problems in Machine and Mechanics National Conference. Convener Workshop on Performance Improvement in University Exams. Convener Workshop on Rapid Prototyping and its Application. Trainer Strategic Planning and Institutional Development IST New Delhi. Co-convener International Conference on Automation. Member Staff Selection Local Inquiry Career Advancement Committee of Nagpur University. Member Institution of Engineers India IST AIM. Members Inspection Committee Board of College and University Development Nagpur University. Editors Newsletter Maharashtra Goa section of IST. Now I request Dr. P.B. Maheshwari sir to deliver his valuable talk on assessment and evaluation.
Sir, your mic is mute.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nilesh, for the kind words. I will share my screen, which is probably already shared, and then we'll start with the presentation.
Sir, you have to share it again.
Okay. Sir, whether my screen is visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. And am I audible properly?
Yeah, sir, properly audible, no issues. You can carry on.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
The principal of the Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, Professor Manisha Puranik, Professor Shagufta Khan, Dr. Nilesh, the entire organizing team, and my dear participant friends. A very good afternoon to all. I am thankful to the Institute, organizing Institute, for giving me an opportunity to be the expert for this particular workshop, which is sponsored by AICTE. And my topic for the workshop is assessment and evaluation based on outcome-based education. See, basically, I have divided this entire 90 minutes presentation into the 4 parts. I know that it is difficult task to complete all the 4 parts, but then I'll go sequentially, and up to whatever part up to 3 p.m. Up to 3:30 p.m. I'll be able to cover. I will do justice with that. First part is the design phase. Second part is technology for assessment and setting targets, assessment plan and instruments. And the fourth part, which is a very interesting part, which is item banks, or the popularly known amongst the teachers and students as question bank. We are starting with the part 1, that is design phase. So before I actually start with the part design phase, I would like to apprise the participants, learned participants, that for the entire outcome-based education system, we need an instruction system design model. To briefly, we call this as, in abbreviated form, as ISD model, instructional system design model. I'm not going much into the detail, but then right from deciding the outcome till the till knowing the gap, means right from deciding the outcome and doing the gap analysis. Basically, the gap analysis is the expected outcome and expected achievement. You have decided that after taking a class of 1 hour, the student must learn this. And as soon as that class is over, then by way of the assessment tool, you find out that what you have decided and what students have learned, is there any gap? And if the gap is there, to what extent that gap is? And once the gap analysis is done, we must know that how to bridge that gap, or what are the remedial measures which should help us in bridging that gap, so that the communication intended and communication received, outcome expected and outcome achieved are in alignment, are in proper relationship. Okay. So this entire phenomena, right from starting the outcome formulation to the gap analysis, comes under a beautiful model which is known as instruction system design. There are a variety of instruction system design which are available, written by the experts, but then most suitable instructional system design model, which I have studied almost last 2 years. I'm studying this particular subject, rather 3 years, because 2015 the outcome-based education is implemented, and then around 2016 mid or 2017 starting, I have started studying it. And when my college has got the NAAC accreditation A and the autonomous status, and then we have implemented also. So the instruction system design model which I was talking about is ADDIE, ADDIE, that is popularly known as ADDIE. The long form of the every letter in this ADDIE is analysis, design, development, implement, and evaluate. So formulation of all the outcome of the course. We decide the outcome for the every course, and the learned speakers who have spoken before me in slot 1 and slot 2 must have told you by this time how to formulate the outcome, how many outcomes should be there, what is outcome. A course should decide how many outcomes, and they must have started right from vision, mission, program educational objectives, program outcome, program specific outcome, then course competencies, and then this program will go till the formulation of the gap analysis. Here, one thing is very important, that because ADDIE instruction system design model, which I studied, so this is the part 2 of the second part of the complete instruction system design after analysis. So outcome, formulation of the outcome comes under analysis. And now what I am trying to deliver before you, I am trying to influence upon you, is the contents of the design phase. Before that, one thing the participant should sincerely understand, that the outcome which we have decided per course, accordingly instruction system which you have designed, and based on instruction system you have designed the assessment instruments, which have a combination of the various assessment tools, which we will talk in detail in this presentation. So outcome which I have formulated, instruction which a teacher is imparting or the instructor is imparting, and the assessment tool based on the outcome and the instruction imparted should be very much in alignment. Outcome is X, instructions given are Y, and the assessment is asked on Z, will never make this outcome based education successful. Even if outcome and instructions are aligned, but then the question paper which you have given in the form of assessment tool, maybe quiz, question paper, or multiple choice or multiple selection type of questions which you have given, they do not cover, they do not enforce the outcome. In that case also, this is very difficult to implement the outcome based education system, because unless I enforce the outcome and instruction by way of the assessment tool, I will not be able to know that what was intended to be delivered or what was expected to be achieved, whether that is achieved or not. If assessment is wrong, then you cannot decide the status of the achievement or the course attainment, whether the outcomes which we have given for a particular course, whether they have attained or not, to what percentage they have attained. The target setting also is done for the same purpose, that if I have decided X target to be attained for this course outcome, then gap analysis will tell me, all the assessment tools and the gap analysis will tell me whether the target set was attained or not. If not, then what should be done in that case? If yes, then what should be done in that case also? With this brief introduction of the instruction system design, ADDIE, and very important point of the alignment of the course outcome, instructions imparted, and the assessment. Of course, the evaluation is the end of the assessment. Assessment is a means and evaluation is the end. Evaluation tells us in terms of the marks and the grades that whether the student has achieved the outcome was set. Assessment is basically gathering the data. Evaluation is telling us that whatever data you have gathered through the assessment tools or whatever performance students have given in the assessment tools, whether that is up to the mark or not, or to convert that in terms of the marks and the grades is the evaluation. Many times people take assessment and evaluation as the interchangeable terminology, which is wrong. Let us go to the next slide. Let us try to understand what is design phase. There is a standard definition of the design phase, identifying what the learners should be able to perform to demonstrate the attainment of the learning objectives. I was just talking about that, attainment of the learning objectives. What do we mean by learning objectives? The course outcome. So the performance which the students have given to the assessment tools, whether that performance is capable enough to attain the course outcome set by the instructor. Course outcome, what I'm talking about is, of course, you all know that is with reference to outcome-based education and the National Board of Higher Education. Let us try to understand what is assessment and why the assessment is given so much importance in this outcome-based education system. Otherwise also, assessment is very important, whether it is outcome-based education system or not. But then outcome-based education system has a very systematic approach to understand the implications of the assessment. It tells to the instructor that what way the assessment tools should be how you can make an assessment instrument out of the assessment tool, and then what do you understand from the post-assessment process, that is evaluation. Let us try to understand what is assessment. Assessment is a measure of performance. As we rightly understood right in the first slide, that assessment is a measure of performance. And where the performance students are giving? In the by way of the assessment tools, or by way of the combination of the assessment tools, to which we say assessment instrument. Evaluation is an interpretation of the assessment. As I told you that assessment is gathering the data of the performance, whereas evaluation is interpreting that assessment submitted by the student. Okay, and assessment is a means and evaluation is an end. Assessment drives student learning. I will give you just an example that normally I will tell you in the later slides that there are two types of assignments which we knowingly or unknowingly carry out. That is the formative assessment and the summative assessment. Formative assessment, you must have seen that whenever you teach in the class, maybe at the end of the class, just before 5 minutes, you ask few questions to the students. Or maybe in between also, after completing an important concept, you ask few questions to students just to know that whether they understood or not. And you must have observed one typical phenomena that there are always 4 or 5 students who answer your question. Okay, sometimes a number gets added and sometimes a number gets subtracted. Normally, you'll find a group of students is there, they are giving the answers. Now, did you ever try to understand the reason of it? Because a student like me say, okay, there are no marks on this, on these questions which the teacher is asking, so why should we answer it? It is not getting added to my performance in terms of the mark sheet or in terms of the grade or in terms of the division. So hardly a very small number of students are answering your questions which you are asking them, and they know that there are no marks, but then the formative assignments or the formative assessment is very important, which I will tell you at the later stage. That is the why did I give this example, that this third statement, assessment drives student learning. The moment I know that there are marks and these marks are going to be added to my final percentage, then this assessment drives the student to learn. And that's why the quality design of the assessment is very important in order to see that my outcomes are achieved, learning objectives are achieved, or the target set is attained. Our assessment tools tell students what we consider to be important. See, this is also very important. Means the assessment tool is a message to the student that whatever we have taught in that, what we consider as important, maybe a part of unit 1, I consider this as important. So I consider this as important doesn't mean that that is important for me. That is important for the student also, for his next higher year subject, next higher semester subject, or for placement, or for purpose of the projects like this. And that's why through the assessment, I give them the message that what is important or what is the important concept in this particular assessment. Teachers guide student to learn through their assessment. It is, finally we can say, it is a glue that links the components of course, its content, instructional methods, and skill development. As I told you right in the beginning, that this takes care, it is a glue between the outcome, the instruction imparted, and the assessment tools which we have given to the student. So it is a glue between these three, and the moment glue is there, what we are doing is we are trying to set them in alignment. That is what is the ultimate aim of this presentation of mine. Let's try to understand. I'm telling you right from the beginning that assessment items, assessment instruments. What I mean by the assessment items? Items that require short, long written responses. Short answer type, long answer type, essay type, quizzes, assignment problems, simulations, laboratory experiments to be conducted, projects to be done, field work, field visit, industrial visits, reports to be written after the industrial visit or after the survey or after the field visit, or maybe after many project in the major project, to which we say capstone project, presentations to be made. And what are assessment instruments? Let us try to understand the difference between assessment tools and assessment instruments. Assessment instruments are collection of assessment items which we have seen previously. You may set a assessment instrument which consists of the combination of the assessment items which we have seen in the earlier slide. Have a purpose and context. Whenever an assessment tool is set, it has a definite purpose in definite context, and that definite purpose and that definite context always leads back to the outcome formulated. Contain different types of items that I already told. Say for example, a paper, say for example, the quizzes, midterm tests, final examinations, and group projects. These can be the assessment instruments. Types of assessments. I was talking to you about formative assessment. So formative assessment, which is also known as assessment for learning. Assessment for is very important here. Assessment for learning or educative assessment. See, the formative assessments are also known as the periodical assessment. Maybe as soon as the class is over, or as soon as the concept is over, as soon as the topic is over, as soon as the unit is over, you go for the assessment. And that type of assessment, to which we say periodical assessment, is known as formative assessment. And this assessment is for learning. Means ultimately, through this, as I told you in the last slide, assessment drives learning. Here, formative assessment, in true sense, is an educative assessment, which makes the student learn. It is not the assessment of learning. It is the assessment for learning. So, for example, I taught a particular concept, first law of thermodynamics. As soon as the concept of the first law of thermodynamics and application of some of the examples I have finished, and then after that, the questions in the form of short answer type, yes or no type, digital type, when I'm asking to the students, I'm basically generating the feedback that whatever I have delivered, how much students have learned. Though it doesn't have any mark, but then it educates the students that how much does he know out of it. But then you are aware, as I told you, that formative assessment has some problems attached with it, that the students are not very much attentive in answering, or they're not very much responsive in answering, because in whatever assessment the marks are attached, students are proactive, students are responsive. Wherever the marks are not attached, students are not. But if the instructor can persuade the student to give the answer, or if he can make the application of the concept so interesting that the student gets motivated to answer, then formative assessment is a very important educative assessment tool, which is for the learning. And the moment I get the feedback that the particular concept student did not understand, I repeat it. When the majority of the students do not answer it, then I repeat it. I may adopt the different methodology to explain them, and then I make them understand the concept. And that's why it is known as it is assessment for learning. Summative assessment, for example, the summative assessment normally is an end semester examination. Summative assessment is the test which we are taking, end semester examinations which we are taking. So whatever we have studied in unit 1, the test on unit 1, that is test 1, is the assessment of learning in unit 1. That is not assessment for learning. Similarly, the end semester examination which we are conducting, the end semester examination or semester end examination, whatever terminology you use for it, that is also the assessment of learning. Once the question paper is given, then there is no scope either for the instructor or for the student to understand that concept again or to make it educative again. Types of test items. So there are two types of test items, written test items and performance test items. So written test items are again classified into two, the selection type and supply type. What do I mean by selection type? The response consists of making choices from given alternatives. I hope you must have understood by this time. Now, because of the pandemic, this is the era where we are moving towards the multiple choice questions. Your organizing team is also giving you a question paper, which is mandatory from the AICT, based on the delivery of an expert, and that is also the multiple choice type. I have given a question paper where which is multiple selection type. So you can have, means one question will have more than one answer also, and some of the questions will be having one answer. So that I have already submitted. So multiple choice, multiple selection, wherever I have to select the answer from the given options is known as selection type. And supply type, say for example, fill in the blanks. So if the options are given, that will go to the category of selection type. If the options are not given and you have to fill that word there in the fill in the blanks, that will be the supply type. So response consists of giving a short or long answer is a supply type. Performance test items. So as you are aware, I know that majority of the attendees, though today quite less number of attendees I am able to see, but then the number of attendees, majority of them are teachers, and they know that the experiment which we are performing in the laboratory and in the pharmaceutical institutions, it is more based on the experiment as it is related to the medical education also, where the experimentation is given the top priority. So experimentation is the performance type. Then you are delivering a seminar is a performance type. Viva voce is a performance type. Mini project, capstone project, all these tools are the performance type of test item. Let us go into further detail, and I would like to inform you that what are the various selection type items which many of you are already using. True or false, multiple choice, multiple selection I have already talked about, matching the blocks, match the pair जो हम बोलते हैं, and majority of the competitive examinations have such types of questions, especially the JEE and all. Rearrangement, sometimes we call it jumbling the statement, then rearranging it and then formulating it, the statement as expected by the examiner. Checklists, rating scales. So as soon as my delivery is over, then the organizers will be giving you a feedback, or it will be online feedback where you will be required to rate me on variety of parameters, that how was myself as an expert on outcome-based education, and whether I did justice with the contents and the participants also. Let us see the supply type of items. Complete the sentence. Sometimes the sentence is not complete and you are expected to write the full sentence with the appropriate phrases or the words. Fill in the blanks. Sketch. Label the diagrams. Label the diagrams. Short answer type. Structured response. Viva voce. Numerical questions. Detailed answers. That is the long answer type or the essay type. Then let us try to see the performance type test items. See, we may not have even imagined if there are so many types of the assessment items we have, and the combination of these assessment type of items can create a beautiful quality assessment instrument wherefrom I can judge the written performance, oral performance, and the performance on the basis of the projects of the students. Experiments, simulations. Simulation is again a very good example of the performance type. Projects, prototypes to be built, things, objects, equipments to be tested, discussions, seminars, presentations, field studies, which includes industrial visit also, and viva voce. You may find that one test items may be there in two types. As I told you, that fill in the blanks can be selection type also, can be supply type also. Depends how the instructor is taking it and how he is giving that particular question to you in the examination or to the students in the examination. Quality of assessment. Quality of assessment is basically characterized by two very important words, validity and reliability. Let us try to understand what is validity. Degree to which assessment measures what it purports to measure. I have decided that after I taught the first law of thermodynamics to the students, students must be able to answer or must be able to know one application of the first law. If that is what is I purported to measure, I take an assessment and find out whether my students, after understanding the law or the concept, are able to explain one application in alignment with the law which I have explained. I give them an assessment tool and I find that after measuring means what? Evaluation. I measure their performance and I find that every student of mine could give one example. That is normally not possible that 100% of the students will give the answer to the 100% of the students will achieve the expected outcome. That's why while setting the target, the experts must have told you that target is normally set between 60 to 70%, depending on the type of students which you have in the class and the type of course also. And the difficulty and complexity of the level of the course, the instructor decides. The instructor is fully free to decide that what way the assessment tool should be, but then he has to always take into consideration that assessment tool should fulfill the requirement of enforcing the outcome and the instructions. And if my students are able to give that example, I say that the assessment is a valid assessment. Assessment is a valid assessment. Then reliability, degree to which assessment scores are consistent. Student A has obtained 6.5 CGPA in third semester in last year's batch. Student B presently in this batch has appeared for the same course. Then he also gets 6.5. Does it mean that can you relate both these students obtaining 6.5 CGPA in the same course in the same year has same difficulty level, same complexity level, whether the cognitive levels were same, whether the knowledge categories were same, whether the assessment tool which was given to them had the same difficulty level or for the same marks? So if we find that this consistency is there, the student scored 6.5 last time and scored 6.5 this time, have the consistency in terms of all the parameters which I have spoken about, then we say that the assessment tool is not only valid, it is also reliable. One more example I'll give, that presentation, I'm making a presentation and there are 4 teachers who are assessing my presentation. Okay, so the 4 teachers who are assessing my presentation will definitely have the different mindset, different understanding, and different view for the assessment and my delivery. Then in that case, the marks given to me by all the 4 teachers may not be same, because I did not give them any guidelines. I did not give them the rubrics. These are the 4 parameters, 5 parameters under which you have to evaluate a student, which normally you must have seen happens in case of debate and the allocation competition, and the seminar which student deliver for the doctor progress seminar which the students deliver for the doctoral research. So what we have to understand that 3 teachers are checking you give an answer sheet to 3 different teachers. Same answer sheet to 3 different teachers. Same answer sheet of same student. And then we teachers understand that the marks given will not have the consistency as far as possible. And if the consistency is not there, I can say that the assessment tool is not reliable. But then that reliability is not only dependent on the assessment, the reliability depends on a lot of parameters which we'll see in the next slide. I hope that you are able to see it, this slide, because the font size is a little smaller. So we start with summative assessment. What I have explained to you, that I have put up in the form of chart. So I will take it faster. Summative assessment is characterized by validity and reliability. Let us try to understand validity, the degree to which evidence and theory support the interpretation of evaluation scores for proposed uses of assessment instruments. Whatever assessment instrument is designed on the basis of the course outcome and the instructions imparted, whether it purports the purpose for which it is designed. And the reliability is, as I told you, consistency of scores across administration of similar assessment instruments. Okay, so then we say if the consistency is there, we say that it is reliable. So assessment will be valid also, assessment will be reliable also, and these 2 things, that is validity and reliability, is achieved through having well-defined course outcomes and competencies. I hope that you must have been told about the course outcome and along with that the competency also. And say you have decided, we have a limitation to decide the course outcomes. We cannot have more than 4 to 6 course outcomes of a course. But then instructor feels that this one course outcome is very concentrated one and does not suffice the purpose of detailing it to the students. Then he decides certain competencies, that is CO1 has 4 competencies, that is C1, C2, C3, C4. So that makes the students understanding better, and then I am achieving my course outcome through the part by part, through C1, C2, and C3, C4. And the moment C1, I complete C1, then I complete C2, C3, and C4, and then my CO1 is completed. That is where the competencies play the important role, which the earlier experts in the analysis phase must have told you. A defined assessment pattern, an item bank as per assessment pattern. Item bank will talk in detail if the time permits. A defined assessment instrument pattern for a chosen difficulty level. Syllabus of the course communicated to the student. So these are the factors which are very responsible for assessment tool or assessment instrument to be valid and reliable. So it's not that the student only is responsible to make assessment tool valid or reliable by the evaluation. It is the instructor also is responsible. It is the administration and the controller of examination also is responsible, because he has to give the structured guidelines for the paper setters and moderators with detailing of the cognitive level, marking pattern, so that I will deal in detail in the slides to come. Is reliability a relevant issue? A teacher may not teach the same course second time in the same course. If a teacher is continuously teaching the course for few years, then we can always say that the assessment tool is reliable and valid as well. But in some of the colleges, they have a policy that a teacher cannot teach the subject next time. Once he has taught, he has to take another subject. That time, because the teacher has changed, instruction delivery approach has changed, assessment tool design has changed, then we may face problem inconsistency being new. There is considerable attrition of faculty. A faculty was teaching for time, say for example, in between a semester or a year, if the faculty leaves. A faculty was already teaching. The second faculty we appoint for the purpose. Then that consistency between the first faculty and the second faculty is difficult to achieve, and their reliability comes into danger. External paper setter may not follow all criteria of validity. Validity, as I told you, has certain criteria which we have seen in the last slides. Especially in the university system, you may be able to see that there are a lot of paper setters, moderators, and a lot of factors which influence the paper setting and moderation. Then, though the university provides the guidelines that how a paper should be set, how many questions to be asked from how many units, what maximum question can be asked in a unit. All you teachers know all this. But then you have also seen, those who have worked as chairman or moderator, you must have also seen that the teachers who have been given the responsibility of the paper setters do not fully follow the instructions given by the university. And then 3 different paper setters, external paper setters, have given the paper sets with 3 different level of consistency, and then it becomes a huge task for the moderator to make all the papers consistent. Out of 5 question papers, he has to submit 3 question papers as per the Nagpur University. And making them consistent is a huge task for the moderator and sometimes to the chairman also. But then if the moderator is also not able to just give justice to it, then I'm very sorry to say that the question paper will neither be valid nor be, assessment tool will neither be valid nor be reliable. So this affiliated I have already covered. Then let us come, assessment part is over, let us come to evaluation. Normally we have seen that the evaluation system is that we give a question paper and then we give say 1 mark questions, 2 marks question, 4 marks question, 6 marks question. So this pattern is known to everybody, that scoring type of questions which we give, wherein the marks are allotted to them, and that is a assessment tool. But then there is a second type of assessment tool to which we call rubrics. I gave the explanation of rubrics in my earlier slides. I give you the rubrics explanation in detail now. what we mean by rubric, how do we define rubric, where from should we find the different examples of finalizing the rubric. A rubric is a scoring tool for subjective assessment, wherein the opinion of 4 people assessing a presentation or delivery or mini project have the different mental set or different thought process. In that case, this becomes a subjective assessment. Okay. So a rubric is a scoring tool for subjective assessment. Means rubrics define the subjective assessment to the extent possible that it should not be influenced by the different type of thought process of the teachers sitting there. Thought process means viewpoint. So rubric is a set of criteria and standards linked to competencies used to assess a student's response on performance test items. You must have gone as an expert in debate competition, allocation competition, students exhibition, chart exhibition, equipment exhibition. Then there are 3 judges, and then all the 3 judges have some variation. I do not say complete variation, some variation in the marking pattern. And that's why you must have seen that the organizers give you a table. In the feedback also, the feedback which the organizers must have given to you, feedback form, in which also you will see that there are 4, 5, 6 criteria against which only you have to give the feedback, and that too on a scale 1 to 5. So they have just made you to give the feedback as per the format they have given. You have freedom, you have choice, but in the limited parameters which are given in the feedback form. So therefore, rubrics are also similar. Giving the grade is also a type of rubric. 4 or 5 parameters writing there, and maybe sometimes allotting them the rating. That is also a kind of rubric. So you are basically judging the expert's performance in terms of the subject given to him, in terms of the broad topic which is of this particular STTP. Okay, so rubrics allow for standardization, standardized evaluation according to specific criteria, making grading simpler and more transparent. It is transparent. And then I have given the website. If you go to this website, rubrystar.forteachers.org, forteachers.org, here you will find variety of rubrics, variety of criteria, specification, conditions they have mentioned, variety of parameters they have mentioned, and for the specific purpose. If it is seminar, the rubric is different. If it is project evaluation, rubric is different. If it is group discussion, rubric is different. If it is some cultural activity, debate, allocation, or drama, dance, then the rubrics are different. Okay. Now, what can be the criteria in the rubric? Major, there should be 3 criteria as far as our professional evaluation is concerned. Professional performance evaluation of a candidate is concerned. Non-verbal skills, in which again there are 3 things: eye contact, facial expressions, and posture. I'm sorry, if you just go for the elaborated key eye contact to kitne marks dena, how many marks should be for facial expressions and for the posture, then you will make your life miserable. So let us not go into that detail. We should have only non-verbal skills. And in non-verbal skill, we can explain to the evaluator that you may give the marks on these 3 aspects, and we want the total marks for the non-verbal skills. Vocal skills, enthusiasm of the presenter, and vocalized pauses. I hope we all understand this. Then the contents. What was the topic? What was time given? How was the slides or the presentation methodology? Content compliance, whether he was the content, quality of the content were focused, quality of the content were up to the level, and professionalism of content and presentation. And most probably, this will be there in some other wordings in your feedback form also. Let us try to understand what is difficulty. Many times I have seen that the teachers on the pretext of difficulty, or it will be very difficult to the students, give the question papers or send the question papers on the lower cognitive levels. I hope that you must have been told by the cognitive levels. There are 3 domains of learning given by the Benjamin Blooms in 1955 and then revised by the Anderson. And these three domains of learning are cognitive domain, then psychomotor domain, and affective domain. So here I am talking about cognitive domain, which is related with the thought process, brain, thinking skills. And cognitive domain has then 6 levels, starting from remember, understanding, remember, understand, apply, analysis, evaluate, and create. So I am in majority. In my presentation, we will be talking about the Benjamin Bloom's domains of learning, number 1, that is cognitive domain, and the 6 levels of the cognitive domain in this presentation. So as earlier speakers must have told you the taxonomy, under taxonomy they must have told you in detail. These days, in addition to these 3, that is cognitive domain, then the affective domain, psychomotor domain, the 4th domain also comes for the learning, that is spiritual domain. Okay, but then very less is talked about spiritual domain so far, and I'm also constrained not to talk about that. Sometimes when we meet, we'll talk on this. So let us try to understand difficulty. On the name of the difficulty, teacher should never deprive the student to practice the problems or the questions on higher cognitive level. That is analysis, evaluate, and create. Analysis बहुत difficult हो जाएगा, बच्चे से नहीं जमेगा. And then we do not give them the question. We give them the questions only on remember and understand. Even sometimes we do not go to apply. It means what you are doing is you are depriving the student to learn those skills, and you are also depriving him not getting the placement, depriving from the placement. So because the placement, higher level cognitive skills are given more importance. That's why my request is that on the pretext of the difficulty, we should not avoid using the questions of higher cognitive level, maybe in the assignment. I don't say that you set those questions in the question paper only, yeah, end semester examination only, or mid semester examination only, or makeup examination. You do it in the assignment, because in assignment the time is unlimited with them, so they can solve such problems of analysis, evaluation, and create sort of. Difficulty level refers to increased cognitive load. Here I am differentiating the cognitive load, and in complexity I will talk about cognitive level. For example, you have asked a student that write down the capital of 29 states in alphabetical order. Though the question is very simple, but then it is very difficult. First, the student has to write down. It is simple for the student to recall all the capitals. It is remember level. It is the lowermost level of the cognitive domain. It is at remember level. So he will recall it. He will write it on a paper, and then he will arrange them alphabetically also. But then it has become a difficult, time-consuming, and sometimes you are giving a question to a student wherein a lot of procedures and a lot of concepts are involved. He has to make algebraic calculations. He has to apply concept. He has to draw a schematic diagram. He has to also make a flow chart. Though everything is simple, but then by incorporating a lot of time consumption, a lot of variety of the concepts and application concept and the thought process involved into it, you are increasing the cognitive load of the student and making that question difficult. Different facts to be recalled, number of concepts involved, more elaborate procedure to be used. Then difficulty level. Difficulty level which you are setting should be learner independent and subject independent. Then only he will be able to solve. Some of the one student may feel that it is a very simple question. Another student may feel it difficult. Third student may feel that he cannot solve, because the student who is feeling that he can solve it knows the prerequisite of the subject. And the other student who is feeling that the subject cannot be solved does not know the prerequisite of the subject. So you know that a teacher best knows what type of students he has in the class. So he should frame the question at the level of difficulty, which should be learner independent. Some subjects are very difficult. We have in engineering some subjects like EMF, EDC. Similarly, in pharmacy, you must be having some subjects which are very difficult. But then the question asked, we cannot give the excuse that because the subject is difficult, the question is difficult. The difficulty level which you are putting for a question should be learners independent and subjective. And at the same time, I'm telling you, you can ask the simple questions of higher cognitive level also. Design a circuit. If I give a question, design a circuit. And आगे में एक condition डालूंगा, design a circuit for this purpose. This particular question is of apply level, third level of the cognitive domain. But then how simple it is. And then the question, which is of the remember level, writing the capital of the 29 states in alphabetical order is of lower level than the apply, but then it's difficult. So you just try to understand the difference between difficulty and complexity. That I will explain. Complexity I will explain. Difficulty question can be made difficult on three context, that is content, task, and stimulus. Simple items of here this example will tell you that how can you make a question difficult and what is complexity. Let us try to understand the difficulty level 1. Determine the time period of a simple pendulum of length 1 meter on the surface of Earth. That is difficulty level 1. Determine the time period of a simple pendulum of length 1 meter when it is placed in a lift which is moving upwards with the acceleration 2 meter per second square. Difficulty level 2. Determine the time period of a simple pendulum of length 1 meter with its bob dipped in a non-viscous medium of density 1/10 of bob and is placed in a lift which is moving upward with an acceleration of 2 meter per second square. Difficulty level 3. Now I know my students. I have already assessed them. Now it is the instructor who has been given complete freedom to decide that what difficulty level questions to be asked to those set of students which are presented. And this way you can increase the difficulty level. Complexity and difficulty. Complexity refers to higher cognitive levels. There I told you higher cognitive load. Here complexity refers to higher cognitive level. And remember that every complex question is not difficult. And every difficult question is not complex. As I told you, design a circuit. Level 3, apply. Domain level 3, apply. Whereas it is very simple. And the another example which I gave you, that it is of the lowest level of the domain, cognitive domain, but is difficult to solve, time consuming. Complexity refers to higher cognitive levels, that is apply, analysis, evaluate, create. Difficulty is not necessarily associated with higher cognitive level. Difficulty is not with higher cognitive level. Means difficult term jo hai na, that term is not associated with the level above apply. Sometimes we include apply also. So difficult questions are normally at the remember and understand level. Whereas the complex questions, complex engineering problems, complex pharmaceutical problems can be at the level of apply, analysis, evaluate, and create. That's why you must have seen that majority of the question paper which we set for the 3 hours duration or 4 hours duration, the majority of the questions are on the cognitive levels, remember, understand, and apply. Whereas the complex questions of complex, I'm not saying they are complex and difficult. They're complex questions above apply, that is analysis, evaluate, and create, we give into the assignment. We give those questions in the performance type of assessment tools like the mini project, major project, assignment, presentation. Because in this 3 hours, the time frame is limited. Within that time frame, we have to judge the student's capability to achieve the expected outcome. So remaining outcomes which are based on the higher level of cognitive levels can be asked in the different assessment tools, maybe in assignment, mini project, major project, presentations. Like this we can go for. But then remember that all the levels of the cognition should be completed, and all the 6 COs which you are formulating should touch, may not be immediately at the first year or second year level, but as soon as the higher level of the classes the students are going into, we should see to it that they achieve all the 6 levels of the cognition or the cognitive domain. one can have lower level difficulty test items at higher cognitive levels. These higher cognitive level items can be difficult, their difficulty level can be lower, as I already given you the example. It will be a disservice, teachers please note, it will be a disservice if test items from relevant cognitive levels are not included in the name of difficulty. This was what I was telling you. We are not making them, if we are not asking the questions at the higher cognitive level, maybe in the assignment, it means we are making them not capable enough to get selected in the better companies packages. Here I'm just giving an end to the first part. I hope that I will be able to cover only two. The exercise which here I would like to give to the participants is list aspects of assessment not addressed in this unit, but still considered relevant to your course. Describe any different sub-processes you consider necessary to be included in the design phase of ADDIE with respect to designing your course. This is the what I should say mid-presentation exercise. At the end, you will get the question paper, that is the quiz by the organizers. Let us move to the part 2, technology for assessment and setting the targets. I will go a little faster now. Information communication technology is very helpful to us in the aspects of the assessment and evaluation, and how, let us see. It can be used at several stages of assessment and evaluation in professional programs. Managing item banks, that is question banks. Information communication technology can manage the question banks. How can it manage the question banks? That we'll see at the question bank portion. Say, for example, you have decided certain questions, and question number 1 belongs to CO1 for 2 marks. Cognitive level is remember. Okay. And then difficulty level also can be decided. Like this, I have already formulated the assessment plan. आपको assessment plan कैसे बनाना पहले बताया होगा, or I will tell you next. So, like this, the questions are tagged, and these tagged questions are incorporated into the question bank, and the ICT, information communication technology tools, will help me. Say, for example, I want that I need 2 questions of CO1 for at remember level for 2 marks each. When you give these fields, then that information communication technology tool will give you the list of the questions as per your requirement, and then you select the number of questions you have planned in the assessment plan. So managing item banks, creating assessment instruments, conducting examination even. So what I told you, that creating assessment also I have explained you. Key in creating the question paper, this question bank or item bank will help you through the technology or information communication technology or the learning management solution or the Moodle. Aggregating the responses of the students after conducting the examination. The university's pattern, you must have seen that the examination is conducted at different places in that university region. Then aggregating those responses of the students at different positions, different locations of the, say in the Nagpur University, 5 districts. So that is one task which even can be coding, masking, which even can be done with the help of the information communication. Evaluation of students' response. Once the aggregation of the responses have been done, then evaluating them, we can use technology for it. Computing attainment of outcomes and grades. You have set some targets, so you have to see that whether the target is attained or not. Computing attainment of the outcomes, and the grades can automatically be given by the enterprise resource planning softwares or the information communication technology tools. There are many freeware softwares are available by the variety of the software providing agencies like Microsoft. And then learning analytics has become very important these days, that a student who has scored 60% marks in 12 has scored how many marks in first semester? How many students have scored 60 plus marks in English? So there are a variety of reasons as to why this analytics becomes very, very important for us. I mean, these days the universities have started BTech honors courses, in which they provide a major specialization also along with the regular degree. So whether if I'm providing a BTech in say Internet of Things or machine learning, then machine learning needs a specific skill. I will test the student after the first semester or second semester examination through learning analytics that how many students are eligible having those characteristics, those features, those positive points which are required by that emerging area course like the Internet of Things or the machine learning data science. And there must be some courses also. Question bank. There are different opinions on the role of item banks. A right-sized and well-managed item bank can greatly contributed to the quality learning. Right-sized means what? I have prepared a question bank of 50 questions and I have to give 20 questions in the question paper. Will that be right size? That will not be a right size. So let us try to understand what is the right size for a question bank with reference to a particular course. And well managed. What is the meaning of well managed? That also we will understand. So these two things, these two keywords are very, very important for deciding the question bank. It should be right sized and well managed. Well managed item banks at university level can have impact on very large number of students. The key is well managed item banks. An individual instructor in an autonomous institution will find it hard to create a good sized item bank. One can be built over time with collaboration and internet. There is a single teacher for that particular subject in an autonomous institution. Then that teacher, it becomes difficult for a teacher. Say, for example, I have decided that whatever number of questions I have to ask, 5 times of that my question bank should have. Isn't it? So in that case, that teacher finds it difficult to have the item banks with the required parameters. मैंने आपको बोला ना कि I need 2 questions of the cognitive level understand, 3 questions on the cognitive level remember, 2 questions on the cognitive level apply, of these marks, of these difficult level, or these knowledge categories. So how do we do this? How do we go for it? And everything is well defined in the assessment plan. The question number 1 will have this and this. Question number 2 will have this and this. And you have question bank also. So right-sized and well-managed question bank with the help of the information and communication technology tool will give you the question paper set on the basis of the instructions which you give to the software. Instructors' item bank should be constantly upgraded to meet the needs of changing instructional situation and the curriculum. This you understand well, I need not to explain it. This becomes very difficult when there is a university setup and 500 to 600 courses we have to develop the question. It becomes really difficult. And that too, the question bank is developed based on the structure of the assessment plan. Incorporating cognitive level, difficult and complexity level, also fulfilling the requirement of the course outcome, marks, this everything taking into consideration and the type of student available. Then only you can make the quality assessment. Quality assessment needs a lot of things to be done in terms of the good item banks. Processes exist for designing and managing good item banks. Standards exist. If you just type this word QTI standard from IMS Global on your Google, then you will find that you get a very elaborative, very systematic, with good instructions, the standard question banks which are available, and those standard question banks which are available are separately for the separate assessment item. For quiz, test, assignment, and semester examination, you will find the different type of tests for the different items are available on this website. Because in this 1.5 hour seminar, it is not possible for me to go into the detail. Otherwise, I have the contents. The 4th part is the question bank in detail. But then the time constraints are there, so I will not be able to cover. That's why I'm giving you this QTI standard, which is created by the IMS Global. You will get the beautiful information. If you have to design the quiz, go for it and find out that how the quizzes are decided. What are the parameters which affect the quiz? What are the parameters which are affecting test, assignment, and the end semester examinations? Technologies are available for designing and managing item banks. As I rightly told you, that learning management systems are freely available, like Moodle, which helps you in doing all this. LMS such as Moodle can facilitate creation and management. Both can be done. creation and management of the item banks. Even the item banks can be created, but then they should not deviate from the assessment plan which you have finalized. Creation of assessment instruments requires designing an assessment plan depending on the COs under consideration, weightage selected for cognitive levels, marks allotted, and difficulty level. I already told you that की question bank कैसे design करना है. और जो question bank CO1 के हैं, which are at understand level of 2 marks, will come in one category. CO1, remember, 3 marks will come into one category. CO1 apply 5 marks will come in one category. And then whenever you select the questions from the question bank for formulating a assessment tool or the question paper, you have to select that category, take 2 questions, select another category, take 3 questions. And you can define everything there in the LMS, and the LMS will give you the suitable questions. You just put it into the question paper format, and the question quality assessment tool, quality question paper is ready, which has no ambiguity, which has no technical inconsistency, which is beyond from the debate of the difficult and complex questions. Conducting examination. I will not go for it because conducting examination may not be interesting to everybody. Aggregating the response, evaluation of students. Technologies exist for evaluating the responses of students of multiple choice, multiple selection, and filling the blanks in a variety of contexts. Those who have appeared for the NPTEL examination, National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning, Madam Puranik has already appeared, and many teachers of this institute also must have appeared for the NPTEL. You see their examination system. You see their evaluation system. Today, 12 midnight is the last date, and next day morning you get the answer, your assignment tool evaluated, your quiz evaluated. And same the organizers must also be doing. They must be giving you the assignment today, quiz today, and they must be giving you the time overnight. And next day before the class starts, you will that link will be removed, and you will know the answer. So this beautiful, this if you have to understand evaluation of the student response, conducting the examination, please take one course of the NPTEL and understand their complete process. It is beautiful, awesome. Computing attainment of outcomes and grade. Commercial academic management system. As I told you that there are some ERP softwares which are available nationwide or in the state of Maharashtra also. Some of the universities have already purchased, where automatic attainment of outcomes and grades are computed and mark sheets are printed. If some of the colleges do not have it, then in that case, the Excel is an excellent tool, spreadsheet. You can use that and you can go ahead with that if the software is not available. But it is always better to use the technology for doing all these purposes, all these tasks of the design phase of it. Learning analytics. Academic management system provides tools for learning analytics that can provide information required by management, facilitate better placement, identify trends, and generate data as required by the accreditation and regulatory agencies. And this gives a lot of graphics also. A lot of graphs are there wherein directly you can compare intra-subject, inter-subject, intra-department, inter-department performance. The placement officer, if needs the student with some specific skills, with some grade point average, then even the placement cell can be, everybody in the college can be helped by this data analytics, and better decisions can be taken for the next time's instruction based on the learning analytics. Let us come to quizzes. Teachers increasingly started using quizzes as summative assignment instrument in continuous internal evaluation using open source tool like Google Forms. Your feedback, the organizers must be taking on Google Forms. Similarly, the quizzes also can be taken in the Google Forms, and it is a very easy method of doing, taking the help of the technology. And in this pandemic, we have seen that the Google Form and the online classes has become very close to our heart. Manual methods associated with quizzes can be time consuming to teachers. Designing, conducting, evaluating, and giving feedback to students on quizzes can be done very effectively using any LMS and internet devices. Even in the class, you give the quiz and give 5 minutes time for the 4 questions to the students on the quiz on the basis of what you have taught, and immediately you get the feedback. So that means quizzes can play the role of formative assessment as well as summative assessment. The moment you give them the marks becomes summative assessment. The moment you make the quizzes educative, assessment for learning, then and you take the feedback of what you have taught in order to improve your teaching next day or in next semester, the quizzes play a very important role. And the technology, quizzes अकेले का role नहीं, technology also plays a very important role. You must have seen KBC में वो उनके पास में जो pad रहता है, and immediately the people's opinion they take. A similar instrument you can have in the college, and if that becomes expensive, then you can use the Google. Then and there, only the thing is that students should have the smartphone to do it. After quizzes, assignments. Several colleges are using WhatsApp and LMS for interaction between teacher and students in relation to assignments. Date and time of submission are communicated through WhatsApp. The assignment is communicated through group mails or through WhatsApp. Students submit their responses to assignments using cameras, images from smartphones. The evaluation is manual. Tools offered by LMS can be effectively used to communicate with the students and give personalized feedback. So far, there is no strong tool or strong technology which has been developed to evaluate long answer type, essay type, or short answer type questions. So in that case, they can be scanned. Digitally, they can be sent to the centralized place or to the teacher who is going to evaluate it. And those can be evaluated digitally also to that extent. Okay. Automation is not there. Okay. That the teacher is required to check because the answers are short answer type or the long answer type or the essay type. Technology for assessment and evaluation. The choice of technologies depends on the nature of subject, access, comfort level of faculty and students with the technology. See, these are very important factors. You have chosen a technology which neither a teacher is able to understand, and if teacher has understood, the students are not able to understand. Throughout the pandemic, we are using online classes, but then you must have seen normally more than 30 to 40% students are absent. Hardly 50 to 60% students are attending because they do not have the requisite technology. They do not have the requisite gadgets. They do not have the requisite Mbps internet facility. And that's why that is happening. And you must have seen while the universities were taking the examination, how difficult it became for the universities to take the online examination. Still, the universities could do it successfully in 1, 2, 3 attempts. Some institutions, very small in number, started using assessment and evaluation tools offered by open source learning management system. This I already told you. Teachers can personalize the technology for courses using an LMS with some technical support. There is no need that you should be dependent on the university. At least the assignments, tests, quizzes, you can design of your own if you are in an affiliated system. If you are autonomous, then there is no issue. You can do everything of your own. Even the end semester examination, you can do online or with the help of technology. But then if you are 90% of the institutions or more than 90% are in the affiliated system, so they play the dominant role. In that case, at least leaving semester end examination, remaining things can be used based on technology. And if in a college, the college is not, the college management is not taking suitable steps of doing it. Yes. Hello? Hello? Hello?
దాన్ని మనం ప్రమోట్ చేయడం ఏంటిది?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Continue. Dr.
Yes,
Nilesh,
yes, sir.
should I continue?
Yes, yes.
There is some interruption in between. That's why I asked. Even if in a college, a teacher is interested to use the technology for his course, his subject, he is free to do it. And then he can train the entire department. Then the department head and that teacher can train the entire institution. I therefore request the IPER, which is a leading institute in this area, that please start this using technology, at least up to the level of the assignment, test and quizzes, if you are an affiliated college. Setting targets. Targets need to be set for attainment of COs. The performance of students need to be compared with the set targets. This comparison enables the teachers to plan for continuous improvement in learning. The targets influence the design of assessment instruments. There are several ways of setting targets. See, I have given you a table which must have been told already by some of the experts. Targets are set for each CO of a course separately. It does not directly indicate the distribution of performance among the students. However, it has the advantage of finding out the difficulty of specific CO. What I did is, on the basis of the difficulty level of the CO, right from CO1 to CO6, I have set the attainment target, variable attainment target. CO1 I have set 70%, whereas CO4 I set 65, CO3 75, and CO6 80%. I have set the separate different target for the different CO based on the difficulty level, and that is decided by the instructor. But then this is possible because setting the target is one thing. Whether the target is attained or not, that also we have to check after the assessment and evaluation. So this setting the different target for different CO is possible only for an autonomous institution, because there the answer sheets are available to be assessed on the basis of the CO. In the university system, a particular institution will not get the answer sheet back to the institution to see that the student has attained at what level a particular CO or particular question belonging to that particular CO or the cognitive level. So in the affiliated system, the college has to set the uniform CO. If you have set 60, then 60 for all COs. Whereas the autonomous institution can separate the different CO depending on the difficulty, and which will be decided by the instructor. So part 3. Now I come to the part 3. Before that, I would like to give the exercise that list the specific technologies you used in connection with the assessment in courses you taught. Part 3 is assessment plan and assessment instrument. I was talking about assessment plan. Let us see the assessment plan and assessment instrument for the next 15 minutes. The method of assessment varies from institution to institution. Assessment can be broadly divided into continuous internal evaluation, CIE. You may say continuous internal assessment also, CIA, and semester end examination. These two types of examination or evaluation assessment we normally do. The relative weightage given to CIE and SEE also varies considerably from institution to institution. Say for example, in my institution, which is an autonomous institution, we have 40-60 weightage. 20 marks internals, 20 marks midterm examination, and 60 marks end-term examination. Nagpur University, RTM Nagpur University has 20-80 format. PG, we have 30-70 format. So they may range from 20-80 to 60-40. Much of these assessments require written responses. The number of assessment instruments that can be used and the variety of assessment instrument in continuous internal evaluation allowed depends on the guidelines provided by the institute or affiliating university. In autonomous, they will have the guidelines, and affiliating also, we have the guidelines that the 20 marks which are given to us for the internal assessment are to be distributed how. And to some extent, the institution is also given the freedom. In all cases, the internal assessment taken as a whole must address all the COs adequately. This is very, very important. The internal assessment and the external assessment both should address the questions which cover all the 6 COs or whatever number of COs you have given, 4 to 6. Ensuring this requires planning upfront. Means you cannot do it at the 11th hour. You have to have the planning upfront in advance. See here, continuous internal evaluation, what I do. Based on the available guidelines, the instructor must finalize the details of the assessment instrument to be used and the schedule for administering these instruments for CIA. Here in this particular case of example, the continuous internal evaluation marks are 50. Now, how did I plan the assessment for this CIE 50? Let us see this. Test 1, 15 marks, and the schedule is week 7. test 2 15 marks week 13, quiz 1 5 marks week 5, quiz 2 5 marks week 14, assignment 1 to be submitted in the week 9, assignment 2, that is A2, to be submitted in week 15. Assignment 1 and 2, you must be observing, are getting submitted little later. That is for the reason because the assignments which we have given, and as I told you, are based on higher cognitive level, starting from apply, analysis, evaluate, and create. Similarly, if you observe that the test 2 which I am conducting in week 13 and quiz 2 which I am conducting in week 14 also will consist the questions on apply level. Maybe a part will be remember, understand also, but here we can incorporate apply also, because apply is a higher level of the cognitive domain, can be taken at the later stage because we move from easy to difficult. So that movement suggests us that we should take the test or the quiz or any assignment assessment on the higher cognitive level at the later stage. The assessment plan may indicate 5 marks for assignment 1. However, the actual assignment given to the students need not be of 5 marks. Here, what I'm trying to tell you, that though you have given 85 marks, but then ultimately these 50 marks of the CIE are to be given out of 20. Then you can scale it down. You can scale it down. Okay, that is what is the meaning of this. For each CO, we must decide marks to be allocated to this CO out of the total marks for CIE. The distribution of these marks over the relevant assessment instruments means, if I will explain you this with the help of one table. See, total number of class sessions are 56. How should I decide that key? What CO I have to give and how many marks? This decision, if you have to take, if a teacher has to take, how should he take the decision? Total number of classes which an instructor has completed 56. Number of class sessions devoted to CO5. I am talking about a particular CO5. He has, out of 56, he has taken 8 classes for CO5, which amounts to 14% of 56. So total CIE marks are 50. 14% of 50 for CO5 becomes 7 marks. CO5 is perceived by instructor to be very, very important. That may be important from the placement point of view. That may be important from the point of view of the courses which are there in the higher semesters. So that is what is the perceiver. That is what is the instructor is perceiving. So instructor can always change this percentage and the proportionate marks depending on the importance of the CO in that particular course. Therefore, here you will see that CIE marks allocated by instructor to CO5 is 10. Actually, with reference to the number of classes, number of sessions he has conducted, out of 56 for CO5, he should have allotted 7 marks. But then the instructor has considered this as important and allotted 10 marks. So the complete allocation will be CO1 8, CO2 8, CO3 8, CO4 8, CO5 10, and CO6 10. Like this, all the COs, we have allotted the marks based on the number of classes or number of sessions conducted, with some exception which is dependent on the expert instructor. CIE marks for each CO have been determined. Now instructor must decide on the distribution of these marks over the relevant assessment instruments. We have decided to mark CO wise. Now these marks for CO1, which is 8, how should it be distributed over the variety of assessment tools? See here. The test 1 is scheduled for week 7. Lesson plan indicates that CO6 is planned for week 12 and week 13. Evidently, CO6 cannot be addressed by T1. Did you understand it? Test 1 is scheduled in week 7, whereas the questions on CO6 is planned in week 12 and 13. So obviously, the questions based on CO6 or the marks distributed for the CO6 cannot be asked in T1 because their scheduling weeks are different. See the example of a valid plan. CO1 total marks 8, quiz marks Q1 equal to 3 and T1 equal to 5. Like this, the marks allotted to CO1 based on the number of sessions covered out of 56, I have distributed these 8 marks to 2 assessment tools, Quiz 1 3 and T1 Test 1 5. Similarly, CO6, tool for week 12 and week 13, will be conducted in assignment 2, 5 marks, and quiz 2, 3 marks, which are also scheduled for examination after the completion of the course, course indicated to CO6. Distribution over relevant cognitive levels. This is very important. Cognitive level of an assessment item is generally expected to be at the same cognitive level as that of the CO. Remember this thing. If CO5 is at cognitive level F, that is apply, APP, apply, then the questions which you are asking in the assessment for the marks of CO5 should be at that cognitive level only. This is very important. You have decided that CO5 should be at cognitive level, apply, and then you are asking all the questions at cognitive level, remember. That will be very, very inappropriate, and the target will not be achieved, and there will be clash between the cognitive level of CO5 and the questions you are asking the assessment at different cognitive level. However, we may also have assessment items from lower cognitive levels for a variety of reasons. So here I am trying to tell you that the cognitive level, if is fixed, apply for 8 marks, then a part of that 8 marks can be asked at lower cognitive level for variety of reasons, which I will be explaining in the next slides. क्यों lower पे ले सकते हैं? The weightage given to assessment items belonging to the lower cognitive level is decided by the instructor. Instructor is free to decide that what lower cognitive level should be considered for this CO5, which otherwise is set for the cognitive level 3, which is applied. A useful rule, thumb rule. तो instructor ने क्या करना चाहिए, उसका मैं एक thumb rule आपको दे रहा हूँ. The weightage given to assessment items belonging to the lower cognitive levels should be less than 40%. If there are 10 marks on CO5, in that case, not more than 4 marks should be allotted to the lower cognitive level than the cognitive level which is decided for CO5. If the CO5 for 10 marks is decided the cognitive level apply, then the 4 marks can only be given to the lower cognitive level of remember and understand. You may give a 2-mark question on remember, 2-mark question on understand, and 6 marks question on apply, or 3 marks each 2 questions for apply. Like this you can do. So this is a thumb rule. If 40% के नीचे तक आप लोअर कॉग्निटिव लेवल यूज कर सकते हैं. A total of 10 marks are planned for CO5. I am giving you one example. Assume that CO5 is at apply cognitive level. One possible allocation of marks over cognitive levels could be apply level 6 marks, 60% of 10. Lower levels 4 marks, 40% of 10. और ये 4 mark को understand level 2 marks and remember level 2 marks. Final plan for addressing a CO in CI. The example I am giving for CO5.
हाँ उसमें तो बहुत सारे हाँ
How these marks allotted, 10 marks allotted to the CO5. Cognitive level तय कर लिया, marks तय कर लिए, CO तय कर लिया. Let us decide now the assessment tool. So in test 2, because I am talking about the continuous internal evaluation, I did not reach to the end semester examination. That's why that you can decide. Instructor can decide. So in test 2, apply level I will ask for 6 marks, and understand level I will ask for 2 marks, and quiz 2, remember level I will ask for 2 marks. I means who? The instructor. This allotment of the marks to the variety of assessment tools can be decided by the instructor. Apply level का 6 mark का question instructor 2 question 3 mark के भी दे सकता है. So instructors are given enough freedom, but then they should remember that they should move only strictly as per the assessment plan, course outcome, and cognitive level. Summary of CIE plan. Determine the CIE instrument, marks for each instrument and the schedule for these instruments for each CO. Allocate marks for continuous internal evaluation. Depends whether you are giving 20 marks, 30 marks or 40 marks depending on the pattern in that university or based on autonomy. You allocate marks for CIE. Distribute these marks over selected CIE instruments. Determine the marks for relevant cognitive levels. यहाँ देखिए, this is a very good table. Summary of CIE plan process. CO1 in the second column is cognitive level U. U means understand. The second cognitive level out of 6. So test 1, okay, 5 marks. So understand level they are giving 5 marks, and quiz 1 remember level they are giving 3 marks. So how many total marks were there on CO1 we have seen? CO1 had 8 marks. Now these 8 marks are distributed over 2 instruments. It was at understand level. Remember that CO1 was at understand level. So I have to give 60% marks at understand level and 40% marks I can give, not necessarily, I can give at the lower level. So what is the lower level of understand is remember. So 60% of 8 is given to test 1 at understand level, 40% of 8 is given to lower level, that is remember cognitive level, with 3 marks. CO2 also was of 8 marks and that is also at understand level, cognitive level is understand. So here you see that test 1 was given 5, that is 60% of 8, and remaining 3 marks are distributed over 2 assessment tools. Quiz 1, 2 marks at remember level, and assignment 1, 1 mark at remember level. CO3 was at apply level, 8 marks. So 60% of the marks were given on apply level, that is 5 in test 1, and the 3 marks at understand level. Understand is lower than apply. So lower cognitive level is given 40%. Similarly, CO4, CO5 and CO6, you will see that the marks are distributed like this. In CO4, you see that it is apply level. So that apply level and lower level, both the things I am giving only in one test instrument, and the second one is A1. So like this complete assessment plan for continuous internal evaluation is there. Similarly, because I am exceeding the time, so in that particular case, I am not going for the semester end examination, but then I would like to assure you that the semester end examination is prevalent on the same logic as I have given you in terms of the course outcome, cognitive level, marks, and ultimately the test tools or the assessment tools to which these marks should be distributed. This total, all these factors together make an assessment plan. And based on the assessment plan, you have fixed the assessment tools. And based on the assessment tools, now the question from question banks, you will draw the questions. And the moment you draw all the questions, then you have to make a question paper. Depends on the assessment tool. If it's test 1, test 2, quiz 1, quiz 2, वैसा आपको बनाना पड़ेगा. Similarly, in the semester end examination, which is different than the CIE, where there will be only one question paper. If it's 20-80, it will be for the 80 marks. That should also be distributed on the factors we have distributed the continuous internal evaluation system. The only difference comes in the affiliated colleges and autonomous colleges, that autonomous are free to decide their own semester end examination paper by taking care of all the factors which are incorporated here, and the variable factors are very less because number of paper setters are less, number of moderators are less. In the affiliated system, the number of paper setters, number of moderators are more. Then everybody following the same set of rules for finalizing the end semester examination, yeah, semester end examination question paper is little difficult, little tedious, but can definitely be done and is possible. Dr. Nilesh? Dr. Nilesh?
Hello, sir. Yes.
Dr. Nilesh, should I finish it now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
Okay. Thank you so much, participants. That I hope that you must have heard me patiently, and I also would have justified the task which was given to me by the organizers. And I request the organizers to do send me the feedback so that next time when I deliver such lectures, especially in the outcome-based education, I will take care that the improvement is brought. So what outcome I was expecting and what outcome are achieved by the participants, if there is a gap, I promise to the organizers and participants that whenever I will deliver it next time, I will see to it that the gap is minimized and participants enjoy better compared to what the participants have enjoyed today. If you have enjoyed 90%, I'll see to it next time it becomes 95%. I am very much thankful to the learned principal, Professor Ganjiwale, Professor Manisha Puranik, Professor Shagufta Khan, Dr. Nilesh, who was continuously in touch with me, and for giving me this opportunity to be an expert on outcome-based education. I'm ready to extend any help, any assistance which is required to any of the participants or organizations in deciding the assessment plan till formulation of the setting up the papers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So, dear participants, session is open for question and answer right now. Any question from participant side? You can ask question in chat box. So, we are really thankful to Professor Dr. P.B. Maheshwari sir for an enlightening presentation. Thank you, sir, for giving your valuable time. Now, dear participants, please fill the feedback form from the link given in the chat section. And I declare this session is closed. Join us tomorrow sharply at 10 a.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.